He did not deserve it. He should not be dead. He should be sitting right there beside his brother Kevon, or with his brother Vidal out in Colorado Springs. He shouldn't be in a grave right now like he is. And he put him there. He shot 5 times into the night, and but for the grace of God, those 3 kids right there are dead too. You think about that. It was a miracle. This guy is an angry, out of control, walking bomb, a time bomb that went off on April the 29th, 2017. There's no danger to him. There's just a out of control, trigger happy, dangerous defendant who was looking for a reason to kill. In this case, this innocent kid was not doing anything wrong. Nothing. He deserved the opportunity to go to college. He deserved the opportunity to make Odell Edwards a grandfather. And you took that away from him. You murdered him. And it could have been 5 murders. Ladies and gentlemen, the law, the evidence in this case is a verdict of guilty on all 3 counts.
Suburban Dallas, Texas police officer Roy Oliver fired after he shot and killed a black 15-year-old boy Saturday night. Jordan Edwards was driving away from a house party with his 2 brothers and 2 other teenagers. Police were at the scene to check up on an underage drinking complaint. At first, officers said Edwards' car was reversing aggressively. Oliver fired at the car and hit Edwards in the head. But later, the Balch Springs chief of police said body cam footage told a different story.
I do have questions in relation to my observation on the video.
Balch Springs police said Oliver violated several policies. The Edwards family now wants criminal charges.
We are declaring war on bad policing.
The investigation is complete. After reviewing the findings, I have made the decision to terminate Roy Oliver employment with the Balch Springs Police Department.
Go in his room and I'm waiting on him to walk through the door. Like to have my last, for him to say, bye, I'm gone. It's like, it's never gonna happen.
For Charmaine and Odell Edwards, the death of their 15-year-old son Jordan does not seem real.
I have his pictures now throughout the house and on my phone.
You save the pictures on your phone?
Yes. Yes. Every day I look at the pictures. And I just wish I could see him.
If the car was leaving the scene and wasn't posing a threat to anyone, why shoot? But you literally shooting like you playing target practice.
The car wasn't a threat, nor was the teen who died. Those words today from witnesses who testified in the murder trial of a former Balch Springs police officer. Our Steve Pickett live inside the Crowley Courts building in Dallas. And Steve, Roy Oliver's lawyers have said that he was protecting another officer.
That has been their contention all along, but these teenagers who were testifying, a line of them testifying today, those who were outside that party who actually viewed this shooting, witnessed it, and also those who were inside the car with Jordan Edwards on that April night, they also testifying they saw no reason for this officer to shoot.
I go to school with him.
A list of teenagers.
When the car started going forward, like, that's when I hear stop the different cars, and then that's when, like, I heard the shots, like, after that.
Boys who were in the car fired on by Roy Oliver, and those who say they saw the former officer fire the shots that killed Jordan Edwards.
We're listening to the officer yell, stop the car, stop the car.
Jeremy Seaton testified he was among the crowd of teenagers seen on this body cam video, leaving that house party in April of 2017, where the death of Edwards occurred.
Did you see anything out there that night that would have justified defendant Roy Oliver firing 5 shots at that car?
No.
Did you see anything that justified any shooting into that car?
In my opinion, no, sir.
Hey, stop that car! Stop that car right now!
Body cam video from defendant and former police officer Roy Oliver, along with video from Officer Tyler Gross, were shown frame by frame at times to this jury of 7 women and 5 men. The body cams recorded the actions of each officer just seconds before Oliver fired on the car occupied by the 15-year-old Mesquite teenager. Oliver claimed the car was moving toward Gross to explain his reason for the shooting. In Frederick's testimony today, it included images showing just the opposite.
So the defendant is firing at that car after it's passed him.
Yes, the car is moving away. The shot was fired. I don't have any evidence about the ballistics and what hit what, but if a shot hit the vehicle, it would be coming off of that angle from behind the car.
Prosecutors argue Oliver was trigger happy and killed Edwards for no reason. The defense argues Oliver opened fire on what he thought was a threat.
That body camera video dispelling the officer's original story that the teens were aggressively backing up. He faces up to life in prison if convicted.
Breaking news, a jury just handed down a sentence in the case of a fired police officer convicted of murdering an unarmed teenager last year.
It comes after more than 6 hours of deliberations, We're going to get right to Bradley Blackburn. He is at the courthouse with much more for us. Bradley?
John, Cynthia, this decision was announced just a few minutes ago, and this jury has come back with a 15-year sentence plus a $10,000 fine for former Balch Springs police officer Roy Oliver. The defense had asked for this jury to consider whether this was an act of sudden passion. That would have carried a lesser sentence, potentially as little as 2 years. This jury decided against that, instead going with a 15-year sentence, a $10,000 fine. The prosecution had initially asked for a 60-year sentence. That's what they were asking the jury to return with. And a few minutes ago, District Attorney Faith Johnson spoke to the press, saying that while they would have liked a longer sentence for Roy Oliver, they respect the jury's decision.
We, the jury, having found the defendant Roy Oliver guilty of murder and having made a negative finding on the special issue of sudden passion, assess the defendant's punishment at imprisonment in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a term of 15 years and a fine of $10,000.
When that verdict came down, people in the courtroom, including the Edwards family, could barely contain their emotions.
We did it. Yeah. We did it.
A visibly emotional Odell Edwards held back tears. The father of 15-year-old Jordan Edwards overwhelmed by the verdict.
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant guilty of murder.
After nearly 2 weeks of testimony, a jury convicted former Balch Springs police officer Roy Oliver of killing the unarmed teen. Body camera video from the night of the shooting shows Oliver and his partner responding to a loud house party. Oliver told the investigators he heard gunshots, saw a car headed towards his partner, and feared for his partner's life. He then fired 5 shots into the vehicle, hitting Edwards in the head and killing him. But the body cam video showed the car driving away from the officers, and Oliver's former partner testified that he never felt he was in danger.
Now I'm going to tell you right now, those jurors are courageous.
Jasmine Crockett is an attorney for the Edwards family.
It was a guilty on murder, not manslaughter, not some lesser included, but on murder.
What do you want to say to this jury?
So many times that you see on the TV that this has happened and nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. It's like it happens, they justify it, and the police just walk away and don't have to give an account for anything. And I'm forever grateful that y'all seen it in your hearts to see that it was wrong. And I'm thankful. Because for once, I mean, it doesn't bring Jordan back, but we have some kind of closure.
I'm going to hold him in custody at this point, from this point forward. Sheriff, he's your prisoner now. We'll start punishment in 15 minutes.
Yes.